Let's start with the first question, just about injury news, really. What's the news on the injury front from the weekend?
Um, Everybody came through except for obviously Doyley, who picked up that injury really late in the game. But other than that, I don't think there's any problems that are pressing for the next game. And then we're having some progress with some of the boys that are out as well. So slowly everybody's getting there.
What is the diagnosis on Michael Doyle? Is there anything that you can provide us with?
No diagnosis yet. He came in today and he was feeling a bit better than he was yesterday. I spoke to him on the phone yesterday and it was really stiff and sore, but he felt a bit better this morning. And I think they'll give him a scan just to have a check, and then we'll know more after that. But at the moment we don't know the extent of it. But obviously he's not going to be ready for tomorrow's game.
Just staying on that subject, you've been in the job basically 5 minutes. It's been a whirlwind. I wonder how hard it's been just to keep across all things like that, players, rehab, where they're going. I guess all you've had since the start and you've joined is lots of meetings.
Yeah, a lot of meetings. Yeah, you're absolutely bang on. Yeah, that is. I mean, obviously coming in mid-season, and not just mid-season, but mid-season with such a high volume of games, it is literally. Look, I need to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can about where they are physically, who's at what stage, who can play which games, who needs a rest, and that's not even scratching the surface on kind of tactical things and training. And like today we went out and we did it was a recovery session really, but we managed to put some tactical in it, so we're just getting a little bit across. But the time is precious at the moment.
I wonder what you think about this run of games, because you're going to be playing twice a week. I know you're not going to get time on the training ground, but are you happy that you can start your career, exciting really, with just game after game, or would you rather be given more time?
I love the games because that's where you probably learn the most. But obviously in between that we don't have so much time to change too much. So I think I'm going to learn so much about the team and where we're at, and that's going to be invaluable going forward. But there will be that small element of frustration that I wish I could have even more time on the pitch, but it is what it is. I love the games, I love the competition, and we learn a lot from those. So I think they give me really valuable reference points anyway.
On that basis, are you probably going to manage or coach in a different way to you would have done if you'd been given time in the week building up? Is your kind of thinking a little bit different because of the way that this season's going to end?
Yeah, I mean, you know what, you have to be able to adapt as a coach, and now we don't have maybe lots of sessions with lots of players with large amount of time on the pitch, and with the high intensity that maybe we want to train with. So we have to do it differently, and it's more about detail and information, and getting that across, and using video and analysing. And so yeah, I mean, I just have to kind of think a little bit differently about how to approach this period and how to get the messages across.
Are you bored of video yet? Because I guess
No.
as well as meetings, video's something you've probably done a lot of.
It is, but I'm enjoying getting back into it and getting back into like the process of analysing, and Mo's a similar character, so we're spending hours on the phone and really getting in depth. I nipped back to see my family yesterday, and I spent pretty much the whole day on the phone anyway, and watching videos. So I think my wife just told me to stay up here now.
But what about Saturday? You've now had time to analyse us. You last spoke to us straight after the game when I think feelings maybe were more raw. What have you kind of learned about your side now looking back at Saturday's performance?
Listen, I think if we're honest and we played that game 10 times exactly the same way, we win it 9. We have more than enough chances, but we do lack a bit of focus, and the 46-minute goal and the 91st minute goal was really disappointing. But we showed some really interesting elements in the first half. I thought we created some nice chances and moved the ball quite well. So I learned that the players are willing to kind of they all want to have the ball and create good opportunities, but behind the ball we've got to be a bit more secure and focused. So yeah, it's one of those typical cup games that was really disappointing, but I think we have to put that behind us and look at the next game.
Well, you say put that behind us. I wonder whether you've had to address what happened since Saturday again, since you've had the players back together?
Yeah.
Or are you need to put it, kind of brush it away? And
No. I never want to just brush it away, because like it's valuable learning things. Like you make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and the players are okay. They're going to make mistakes through the year. Everybody will. So it's more to be open and look. We've made mistakes. This is what we can learn from it. I think if you brush it under the carpet, you miss a load of opportunity to get better. So I want them to. So we sat down and watched the video this morning and talked it through, and it's not to hammer anybody, but just to look at the things that we can do better, so that we can improve.
How do you think they've responded to what they've seen this morning?
Yeah, we have good discussion about it, and I think they all want to. I think they know they were disappointed after the game, the players, and they know that they want to do it better, so they're willing to look at it and be self-critical and get better from it.
Maybe a tough question to ask because you've not had the time, but what about Aldershot at Meadow Lane on Tuesday? Where do you think their biggest threats will come from?
I mean, we're taking a real good look at them this afternoon, but the bits that I've seen from them, they want to be quite direct and play forwards really quickly, and they look like a team that is going to come here and work extremely hard. So I think it's not going to be an easy game. I imagine that they're going to come here and try to be very well organised and not allow us to break them down. So I think we've got to be ready for that.
A typical journalist question this, but do you feel under a bit of pressure now for Tuesday because of what happened on Saturday, or are things still the same for you?
No, it's the same for me. You know that every game is an important game, and every game is a pressure game, and I feel that you want to do well in every game. It doesn't matter if I win 10 in a row, it doesn't mean that we feel any less pressure. It's just it is how it is. I don't try to reflect so much on each result, more the performance and where we are at that stage. So it's really early for me. I've been in the job less than a week, so I think it's a little bit early to talk about feeling too much pressure.
But just one final thing from me, and I know it's not your area, it's more admin, but I noticed today that clubs in the National League are being asked to vote in no confidence in the National League. I just wonder, as a manager, is that a distraction that you could do without, or is it just something that you can't control and you've got to get on with it?
Yeah, I haven't paid this. Honestly, I haven't paid the first bit of attention to that. I haven't. Listen, I let them get on with that. I've got enough on my plate with getting to grips with everything. So I leave that to the admin side, and I just think about football, and that's it. And that's the best way for me.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Chris.
Cheers. Thank you.
Ian, hi. I just wanted to ask you about the decision to put Enzio Bamba back on the left-hand side on Saturday, because personally I think that's his best position. What was the thinking behind that?
I think he's a clever player, so I think he can play between lines. And when I play him on the left, because of his, if you play kind of like with a front three like we did, if you play with pinned wingers wide, sometimes like Kyle Wootton could be quite isolated. But instead I wanted to have players that are close to him and in that central area. So Enzio naturally comes in on that right, off the left onto his right foot. And I like him in there because he can go both ways. So yeah, the bits I'd seen of him, I felt like that was a good role for him to have. But and I thought he did well in it actually. We created some big moments on the left hand side in the first half.
I was going to ask you about the second half in particular. Looking back, was there a problem there with strength and how powerful Hornchurch were in the middle of the park? Because that has been a bit of a problem for Notts this season when teams want to make it a bit of a dogfight.
I don't think that was the problem, to be honest. I think the problem was that we had a lot of the ball in that first half, and we came out in the second half, and sometimes you want to make the other team run to tire them out. And it became possession for possession rather than possession for purpose. And then we were playing a lot of passes to feet, and I think that helped them really. It allowed them to defend easier. I think we should have been much more ruthless to go forwards and threaten the back line with our possession. So I don't think it was the physicality. I just think it's the way we moved the ball. I think we could have moved the ball better in the first part of the second half.
Yeah, because I remember Conor Rawlinson at least about 3 times, I think, in the second half was looking for a pass out of centre of defence to pay it in the midfield, but everyone was stood still. Do you think there's got to be more movement in there just to try and create those spaces?
Yeah, I mean, look, first half I thought we moved it excellently and we opened them up a lot. But at that point, you have to accept as a coach in a team, it's unlikely the other team's going to continue to let you do that. And they might try and stop you. And in fairness to Hornchurch, they kind of created a much more tighter, compact block. So then we have to find the solution. Then it's our job to find the solution and adapt a little bit. And which we did, when we made the changes and Jimmy Knowles came on and then and Jim O'Brien made some interesting runs and Eli came on. When we changed that dynamic, then we kind of found our feet again and started creating.
How frustrating is it, having come into a new job, to be in this situation of it's probably unheard of for any manager to come into a football club or a head coach even, where you're playing literally Saturday, Tuesday, and I think you've even got 4 games in 10 days or something on the horizon coming up soon.
It is unusual, but that's I'm a football coach and I love competing and being a part of it, so I'm certainly not complaining. I'm really enjoying being in the football club and really enjoying the challenge ahead. So it's not easy, but it's a great challenge, and that's what it is. So we have to try to meet that.
And obviously Michael Doyle won't be available. What's the latest on Callum Roberts, Richard Brindley? I'm trying to think who else is out. And Lewis Knight obviously I know he's been working on his fitness. What can you tell us about those 3?
Those 3, yeah, you got that right with Lewis. He's just building his fitness up. Rich Brindley was training with the physio today, but isn't ready this week. But Callum Roberts has made good progress, trained today. So with someone like that, we have to take it each day at a time, and we don't want to rush it to get any setbacks. But we're hopeful that he's not too far away now.
I was going to say, obviously, one of the brilliant players from last season. I imagine you've done your homework on him. How much are you looking forward to having him back and firing in the team again? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I've done my research. He's a very talented boy, and he's very important certainly for the creative element in the final third. But whilst he's out, there's opportunities for others to step up and take that role and make it difficult to come back in. We have other good players as well, so. I really, when he's back, what I like is the added competition that it brings, and that should bring out the qualities in everybody.
Brilliant, lovely, thank you.
Thanks, cheers Lee.
Well, hi there, Ian. Just a few follow-up questions from me, really. Having listened to the first press conference there, the post-match interview, and some of the questions there, I take it that you're very much kind of like head coach that really focuses on a collaborative approach and potentially a tough love approach. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think going in after the game and just beating everybody with disappointment is how I would necessarily do it. I think we everybody wants to win a football game. Like, nobody goes in thinking anything else. So if we don't, then we have to just break it down and look at why. And I think for me that's the best way of doing it, is to work to the players to try to improve them.
And you mentioned there about, in terms of some of the chances that, going forward, creating a bit more and looking to be a bit more positive in the passing instead of possession for possession. But in terms of the defence, what more would you like to see from that side of the game?
I think when we didn't have to defend in balance very much. So they didn't have long structured attacks, so we didn't have to set any presses or anything like that, really. It was generally on the turnover of play, so we didn't manage the transitions brilliantly. We were a little bit too open. But sometimes when you have so much of the ball, I think we had over 70%, when that happens, it's really, really key to keep your discipline and focus away from the ball so that we don't get caught. So I think it was the main thing for defending was actually defending when we have the ball to ensure we don't get caught. That was the biggest thing I felt we should work on.
Sure, and I guess that ties in with my next question as well. I was going to ask, you say you're always learning while you're at the club and always absorbing new information. What have you learned from since that performance on Saturday? Yeah,
just that the performance, the result was really disappointing. There was elements of the performance that were good. There were some elements that weren't good. So I think what I've learned is that the players want to absorb the information. You know, we talked about one or two things, and I felt like immediately they wanted to apply them. But it's going to be a work in progress as well. I think that's probably what I've learned.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think it will take a bit of time for the players to kind of like get used to your methods compared to like potentially previous ones and how they differ?
Yeah, probably. There's always a bit of adaptation. Some players it suits and some players it doesn't. That's a normal thing. But I think in general we can't change. We're not looking to change absolutely everything. There were still some good things that the team was playing well in many elements. So it's just to look at the areas that we can just continually improve at.
For sure, and as we mentioned, of course, it's still very early days, and it's only been the one game so far. But what do you make of the squad that you've inherited so far?
It's good. I think they're a really, really good set of lads. I think that I can tell straight away that they're hungry to improve and hungry to try and win football games, and they seem like a great set. So I think first of all, character-wise, they're very, very good. I think that's important. And then, there's plenty of talent in there as well, so plenty to work with.
And you've mentioned that the next game against Aldershot, they're going to bring a bit of a direct approach. What will you need to do well in that game to come away with all 3 points?
I mean, I would expect them to have, of course, more quality than Hornchurch in terms of when they have the ball. So we have to we'll probably be in more organised defence more often. So we have to be very good to control their attacks, and of course we have to. If they're playing forwards and direct, we've got to be able to certainly pick up the second balls, but when we have the ball, try to control the tempo of the game.
And in a way, do you think, because like you mentioned, Aldershot are a bit of a more like what you're going to be playing throughout the rest of the season, do you think you'll learn more from this game in terms of the performance than you perhaps would against Hornchurch? Yeah,
absolutely. I think the Hornchurch game was a very, very random game, very a cup tie that was very unusual. I think that it's much easier to predict a little bit what's going to happen when you have more when you play teams from your league, and it's more what would I say, like there's more footage and there's more experience of playing against these kind of teams. It's maybe a little bit more easier to predict how the game might look.
And just finally from me, after a short stint being away from football, are you pleased to be back in the hot seat? How much have you missed it?
No, I've missed it unbelievably. Like I must have just really I think my wife is so happy that I'm out of the house. Like honestly, I think she's happy because she can go back to looking after the kids, and I can do what I enjoy doing, because I must be a pain when I'm not doing it. But it was really nice to have a break. I think it's really important sometimes to get a little. I did 7 years more or less in a row, 250 odd games, and I think it's quite nice just to step back. But I was totally ready to be back in, so I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure. And as we mentioned before in the first project, it sounds like a family means a lot to you. So through that lockdown, to have that quality time with them, it sounds like that was something that you cherished. But like you say, pleased to be back.
Yeah, absolutely, agree.
Cool, great stuff. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Man. Thanks, Jake.
Ian, sorry, just finally, Alex Lacey. That's one I forgot to mention.
He's progressing. He's progressing. Didn't train full with the team today, but did some rehab. He's not far away. It's not a big one. We were hoping maybe around Wrexham, but it might be a little bit after. Depends on again, like when they get so close, you take each day just to see how they react off of the training, and then. But he's not too far away, Alex.
I know Callum's obviously trained today. How far do you think he is away from sort of being involved in and around the first team?
I would like to think that he's not far away from at least this week. Wrexham on Friday, maybe Woking. So again, we'll look at the reaction from today's training, and I think he's really close now.